You've been coding for years, solving complex technical problems, and suddenly someone asks you to mentor a new hire. Or maybe you're already a manager, buried under the weight of one-on-ones, performance reviews, and the nagging sense that you're making it all up as you go. The truth is, most engineers stumble into management with zero training, expected to figure out on their own how to turn individual contributors into high-performing teams while somehow staying technical enough to earn respect. The path from writing code to leading organizations isn't a straight line. It's a series of distinct transitions, each requiring different skills and different mindsets. The manager who can't let go of being the best coder becomes a bottleneck. The tech lead who avoids delegation burns out. The executive who forgets to treat people like humans creates a culture of fear. In this blink, you'll learn what to expect from good management and how to provide it yourself. You'll see how to transition from mentor to tech lead while balancing code and leadership, what changes when you start managing people directly, and how senior technical leadership demands a fundamental shift in how you operate and communicate. You're here because you want to be a good manager. But do you know how to spot one of your own? We've all encountered the bad ones. There's the neglectful manager who surfaces only when problems have grown too large to fix. There's the micromanager who needs to control every keystroke and decision. And yes, there are even abusive managers who yell and intimidate as a matter of course. The good managers stand in sharp contrast. They genuinely care about you as a person, not just as a resource. They take time to teach you important skills. They help you cut through noise and focus on what actually matters. But what does this look like in practice? Start with the one-on-one meeting. This isn't just a calendar obligation. It's where human connection happens between you and your manager. That connection builds the trust that makes everything else work. These meetings also give you private space to raise whatever needs discussing. Come prepared. Think through what you actually want to talk to your manager about before you walk in. Feedback is the next non-negotiable. Bad habits compound quickly, so catching them early matters. A great manager points out problems promptly, while also acknowledging the small things you're doing well. They also help you understand what promotion actually requires, but don't expect them to read your mind about your ambitions. If you want to advance, you need to initiate that conversation. Career growth extends beyond promotions. Your manager serves as your liaison to company bureaucracy, helping you find training and opportunities. Yet once again, you share the responsibility. You need to figure out what kind of growth you want and what will actually make you happy in your work. If you're unhappy, speak up. If you want an opportunity, ask for it directly. Remember that managers are human. They make mistakes. They're imperfect. They're trying to do good work just like you. That human reality doesn't excuse poor management, but it does mean you should calibrate your expectations accordingly. When you're evaluating a new job, your potential manager deserves serious consideration. Look for someone who understands how to navigate company politics and can actively help you grow. You're not looking for a friend or even someone whose code you admire. You're looking for someone who can manage effectively. Your first taste of management often arrives quietly, dressed up as mentorship. Maybe you're assigned a summer intern or asked to help onboard a new college hire. The stakes are lower than formal management, which makes this the perfect training ground to develop your skills. Start with the practical work of setting your mentee up for success. For a summer intern, you need a project that's real enough to matter, but scoped tightly enough to finish. Look for small features in your own work that would take you a few days to complete. Then sit down with your intern and break that project into clear milestones. Plan to be present heavily in those first few days, then maintain regular check-ins as they find their footing. This is where you'll discover that listening is management's foundational skill. Not the polite nodding kind of listening, but the active attention that breeds genuine empathy. When your mentee speaks, notice what they're actually saying beneath the words. Watch their body language. Are they avoiding eye contact? Sighing? These signals tell you when someone feels misunderstood or stuck. often before they can articulate it themselves. Clear communication runs in the opposite direction. Prepare to explain complex concepts multiple times in different ways. Break out the whiteboard. Draw diagrams. And make your expectations explicit from the start. Should they struggle independently for an hour before asking for help? Or should they come to you immediately when blocked? Assumptions create confusion. Now, some people race ahead and produce messy work that needs refinement. Others move slowly, polishing every detail to perfection. As you observe these patterns, you'll need to effectively calibrate how often you check in and how much guidance you provide. Mentoring a fresh college hire brings these same principles into a different context. You're not just teaching technical skills, but helping someone decode company culture, the written rules and the unwritten ones, the formal org chart, and the actual network of relationships that get things done. Your role includes making introductions and helping them build connections. Mentorship offers you a chance to examine your own tendencies. Are you neglecting your mentee's needs in favor of your own technical tasks? Are you hijacking your mentee's work to show them the right way? Catch this habit now before it calcifies into a management style that crushes the people you're supposed to be developing. The step from mentor to tech lead marks your entry into a dual identity. You're still writing code alongside your team, but now you're also steering the ship. You make independent decisions, interface with non-engineers across the company, and carry responsibility for outcomes beyond your own coding. The skill that separates struggling tech leads from effective ones is project management. This means taking a feature or initiative and breaking it into deliverables clear enough that your team knows exactly what to build. You're identifying which systems need modification, which features need creation, and how all the pieces fit together. You'll need to be apt at mapping dependencies, understanding what must happen sequentially and what can run in parallel. You're also scanning the horizon for unknowns, those potential roadblocks that could derail everything if you don't spot them early. Those roadblocks will appear, they always do. The critical skill here is knowing when to close your laptop and zoom out to see what your team actually needs. The impulse to solve every problem personally runs deep in engineers. It's probably why you got this role in the first place. But tech lead means learning delegation, because the alternative is burnout and bottlenecking your entire team's progress. Great tech leads share certain qualities. They understand their architecture deeply, not just how their piece works, but how it integrates into the broader system. They're genuine team players who don't cherry pick only the glamorous work. The boring maintenance tasks often reveal exactly where processes break down. Balance matters here, both in what you take on personally and what you distribute across the team. Great leaders also understand that technical decisions require your leadership, but leadership doesn't mean making pronouncements from on high. Your team should have input on choices that shape their daily work. Their perspectives improve the decision, and their buy-in ensures smooth execution. Communication skills shift from nice to have to essential. You're the bridge between your team and the rest of the company. Practice writing clear documentation. Get better at listening. Really listening to what people are saying beneath their words, and watch out for the trap of the process czar. This is the person convinced that every team problem can be solved by finding and enforcing the perfect process. Processes help, certainly, but remember you're working with humans who think differently. Some thrive on structure, others find it suffocating. Shape processes to serve your team's needs, not the other way around. So you've crossed the threshold from tech lead into actual management. Congrats. People now report directly to you, which means their growth, their frustrations, and their daily work experience now sit squarely in your hands. The first question is, how do you actually get to know someone well enough to manage them effectively? Start with targeted questions that cut through the usual first-week small talk. Does this person prefer public recognition or private praise? What genuinely excites them about working here? Are there specific manager behaviors they can't stand? These answers give you a working map of how to support them. Some people prefer a 30, 60, or 90-day plan approach. Just make sure that more senior hires have more of a say in their own onboarding roadmap. Whatever method you choose, communication forms the foundation. Your new report needs to understand your expectations just as much as you need to understand theirs. How will you meet and share information? How often will you review their work? Nail down these basics early. The trusty one-on-one becomes your primary management tool. These meetings take different forms depending on what's needed. Sometimes it's a to-do list meeting at which you both arrive with agenda items and work through them by priority. Other times it's a feedback meeting for informal coaching. If you're managing managers, many one-on-ones become progress reports on their projects. But regardless of the meeting type, make it a priority to know the person sitting across from you as an actual human being, not just a productivity unit. Performance reviews sit near the top of every manager's list of dreaded tasks. But the actual review is just the final step of a longer process. It starts with continuous feedback, committing to regularly share both positive and negative observations as they arise. This trains you to handle difficult conversations incrementally, rather than dumping everything into one high-stakes meeting. Know your team members deeply, their goals, strengths, weaknesses, and areas ripe for growth. Start with positive feedback because it's easier and more enjoyable, which helps build your feedback muscle before you tackle the harder stuff. When review time arrives, give yourself substantial lead time to write it properly. Use concrete examples throughout. Dedicate real space to praise. Keep negative feedback focused and specific rather than vague and sweeping. Sometimes you'll need to fire someone for underperformance. The cardinal rule here, no surprises, especially bad ones. Make it clear early when someone isn't meeting expectations and coach them through it. If improvement doesn't materialize, at least they won't be blindsided by the outcome. Let's skip a few rungs now and climb to the very top of the technical ladder. Senior Technical Manager. The company now looks to you for guidance on what to do, how to act, and where to head next. People join because they believe in you and your vision. You set the tone for how the organization operates. This might mean you're a VP of engineering or a CTO. The difference matters. VP of engineering sits at the top of the engineering career ladder. You need a solid command of managing people, teams, projects, and entire departments. You're also expected to have good ground game, the ability to dive into the nitty-gritty when the situation demands it. You'll have some stake in business strategy, but not as much as the CTO role. The CTO position looks different. This is a business strategy job first, technologist job second. You're an executive first, and you happen to be technical. Your job is identifying ways to create new business lines through technology, or ensuring your tech constantly evolves to support company longevity. Strategy becomes your primary domain. So how do you actually formulate strategy? Start with research, deep research. Consider your team, your technology, and the way your company actually works. Find out what your engineers' pain points are, where your scaling problems lurk, and where other executives expect growth to emerge. Then head to the whiteboard. Figure out how you can help your company grow. Map a possible vision of the future with actionable items that people can actually execute. Before submitting your proposal to the board, make sure it suits their communication style. You might be comfortable with sparse slides and lots of verbal explanation, but they might expect something elaborate to read through independently. Here's what changes at the senior level. You're no longer one of the team. You're the person in charge. Whatever you say carries huge weight, and people analyze your every reaction. To manage effectively, you'll need to detach somewhat. If you don't, people might think you're playing favorites, or they might read too deeply into a casual remark and pivot their whole focus because of it. But detaching doesn't mean treating your employees like faceless cogs. You still need to treat them like humans, and they need to feel that humanity from you. This becomes especially critical when delivering bad news, major layoffs, teams disbanding, significant reorganizations. Don't send a group email. Don't gather everyone in a room at the same time. That's impersonal and erodes trust. Instead, talk to people individually. Tailor your delivery to those you expect to react the strongest. Stay honest about likely outcomes rather than softening reality with false hope. The senior management role carries enormous responsibility, but it can be done effectively and humanely at the same time. The challenge is holding both things at once. In this Blink to the Manager's Path by Camille Fournier, you've learned that management in tech isn't one skill, but a series of distinct transitions, each demanding different capabilities. It starts with understanding what good management looks like: regular one-on-ones that build trust, timely feedback, and genuine investment in your growth. Your first leadership experience often comes through mentorship, where listening matters more than technical brilliance. As tech lead, you're balancing code with project management, learning when to step back and delegate instead of solving every problem yourself. Managing people directly means getting to know individuals deeply, delivering continuous feedback rather than saving it all for reviews, and ensuring no one gets blindsided by difficult news. And at senior levels, your words carry enormous weight and require careful distance, without that distance becoming dehumanization. Throughout every stage, effective management combines technical competence with human connection, strategic thinking, and tactical execution. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.